G'day YouTube, how the heck are we doing? It is Foul Play here, back for some more Pioneer action. Now the first league that we did with this deck was absolutely atrocious, and the second league was a big improvement. We did copy from a deck list at a 900 plus tournament in America, and pretty much ran that deck list exactly as it was and did a lot better. I think we ended up 3-2. So we did make a couple of changes since then, but not too many really. I think the first main change is the second copy of main deck Basayu. I think their list may have even been running 19 lands. Additional to that, I've actually removed the planes that was in the list and gone for the second copy of Aganjo. Just to have a little bit more creature removal, a little bit more artifact and enchantment removal. The main deck auras as well. I think we reintroduced either Hammerhand or Kaya's Ghost form. These are going to be haste effect or protective effects that you can tutor onto your Floofy depending on the board state. And Alpha Authority just giving it outright Hexproof, which can be pretty strong as well. Other than that, there's a couple of unexpected cards in my opinion, like Generous Visitor, which you think would just get picked off by a one mana removal spell, but seems to stick around for a while, growing your creatures. So that's kind of nice. Gives you the nice synergy of actually having a turn 1 play when you have turn 2 Basara in hand. Outside of that, the main changes that we can see are to the sideboard. Up to the previous league, we've just jammed in 4 Leyline of Sanctity. I was sort of skeptical on it at the start, but after versing, I think it was a Rakdos deck, definitely going to bring that one in. Additionally, we've minused on Portable Hole and upped on Aganjo. So a total of 3 copies of Aganjo in total and 2 Portable Holes in total. I think Portable Hole, there's too many things that are above 2 mana value, so we're going to look to diversify away from that just a touch. Other than that, we've got Lauren's Escape and Tamiya's Safekeeping to help protect our creature. We got some Graveyard Hate here with Rest in Peace. Got Deafening Silence for combo decks, right? Alright, so that's the deck, everyone. Let's jump into this leg. Alright, here we are for the first match. We won the die roll, and we've got a pretty good looking hand with Scout. So definitely keep this one and jump into it. Opponent also keeps 7. So play lead on brush lands so that we can have double white for turn 2. Ensuring we can maximize on aura damage and on tempo. Alright, opponent plays and cracks Fabled Passage. Alright, so willing to give us some description of information. I really hope that our opponent's deck is not going to be running Diabolic Edict, because we have literally no protection against that currently in hand. We'd have to draw a creature or a Cartouche of Solidarity to have protection there. Oh, one other card in the deck as well is 2 SRAM, which gives us a pretty interesting creature. So we find Temple Garden. Let's play the Boulder Pathway. I guess we just throw down on all that glitters. We don't really have any other interaction here. No counterspell from the opponent, so we can put them to 5. Attack on in. Alright, and they do go to 5. End step. They are cycling Censor. No worries. Well, we played around Censor perfectly there. Look at us go. Opponent concedes. Alright, well, I'd like to say it's pretty fortunate. Alright, so I'm not super familiar with the Pioneer meta, so apologies if my assessments are off here. I'm going to assume they're on some description of Dimir Midrange. It could be Control, Dimir Control, it could be Grixis Control, something like that. I mean, we didn't see much of their deck. Main things to take into account, Liliana of Vale for Sacrifice, Counter Magic, and then discard in the form of Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek. Reminder as well, guys, if you do enjoy the video, please consider subscribing for more content like this. So Leyline of Sanctity definitely coming in. And I don't think we're really going to be looking to fight many of our opponent's creatures. I'm also going to take out our lifelink because it shouldn't be super relevant, and then one All That Glitters because it's super top heavy. Obviously bringing in the ley lines for self-explanatory reasons. Alright, so opponent mulligans to 6, and I think usually I'd ditch a hand like this. We've got double creature, we've got a Floofy. Floofy can protect herself by searching out Kaya's enchantment, so I think we can maybe be a little bit greedy here. We could just get Thoughtseize plus removal spell and not have a great time. Alright, there's basic island from the opponent. I would guess that puts him more on the side of control. They're not looking to interact immediately. Wow, and we find Basara. We can't currently cast it because we only have one green source. Go ahead and throw down our Generous Visitor and pass turn. In response, opponent casts Consider with the Surveil 1, draw a card, keeps the card on top of their library. Alright, now we see this swamp from our opponent and just passing to us. So, what does that mean? Alpha Authority. That's awkward because it means we can't give Floofy permanent hexproof. They could just look to try and counter with a Censor. They could look to remove with Fatal Push. I mean, yeah. It's a hard position, I think. Let's play All That Glitters, see what response it dictates from our opponent. Looks like it resolves. We'll attack in. They take the damage. Alright. Alright, so opponent makes their third land drop, misses on black mana, so no Liliana of the Veil. We find SRAM. God, this hand is so awkward. Look at how clunky it is with 2 mana spells. Let's start it off by just attacking for 3. Maybe play SRAM post-combat. I don't want to extend our best creature out, and I think they're going to have counter magic for our auras. So just play a little bit precautiously here. And that one does resolve. Met by Fatal Push. Yep, that's fine by me. But it plays another land and passing back to us, 4 in hand. Cool, we finally find mana. So I think what we want to do here is try and guarantee the 3 damage first, then we'll play Basara out. Then we'll Ethereal Armor on the Basara and Generous Visitor trigger on the Basara. Assuming we're allowed to do all of that. Yep, so Basara. That one does resolve, so we'll try on Ethereal Armor. We get the trigger from the Visitor anyway. If they spend like a counterspell here, I guess we just take it on the chin. Alright, that just resolves. It's very strange that we're not being interacted with at all. Maybe Damnation about to hit the board. Sweep the whole thing. Alright, so essentially Damnation. Ritual of Soot. Destroy all creatures with mana value 3 or less. Sure, holding up Fatal Push as well. Don't like that. Alright, let's play our second again, Joe. Choose the one to keep, so I'll choose this one. Play this out. And just hope our opponent does not have the removal effect. Blue mana for a counterspell. Is this a null? Spell Pierce. Alright, well. Fortunately can't pay for that. It's going to be passing to the opponent. Maybe we should have held off on Basara for longer. Opponent like also curved out perfectly, which meant that they could hold up Spell Pierce after sweeping the board. And they play Narset. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card a turn. Neg2 finds Fatal Push. That's super lame, man. Alright. This one could be going to a game 3. What do we find? Let's get in for 2 damage initially. We'll turn off this Narset, I believe. Seems semi-important. Opponent probably wants 1 more active on Narset, so they might actually do something. Maybe not. Takes the damage. It's very, very patient from our opponent. Alright, we'll play Basara. Gets around Counterspell here. Wait, Counterspell isn't in Pioneer. Why do I keep saying Counterspell? Gets around whatever the 2 mana pay 1 with cycle is. Fatal Push on the Floofy. Gotcha. It seems like so odd to be playing a format without Counterspell because both Modern and Pauper have it. His opponent got another Board Wrath. Day's Undoing. Oh, come on, opponent. That's a bit BS, man. Then we break into land. That's super mean, dude. Alright, we'll take Narset off the table. Opponent's got a full grip of 7. That could be awkward. This Fatal Push is gone as well. Opponent plays Hall, and looks like they got some fat crap. Alright, so that one there. Gotcha. Active. Finds another Ritual of Soot. Oh, man. So I guess there's applicability to Lauren's Escape and Tamiyo's Safekeeping. So in our opponent's end step, I guess we'll activate Beside You. Taking out this one, because why not? Maybe we go after our own lands to try and filter to an aura. I think this one's pretty doomed, though. If I don't see an aura this turn, I'm going to concede. Alright, so opponent selects Watery Grave intapped, cast Consider off the floating mana, surveilling 1. And we can see Shark Typhoon into the graveyard. That is terrifying. Anything of relevance deck. Not really. Alright, let's concede. I'm just like conceding for time and also for entertaining value there. You could potentially play it out, but it's kind of not a great position to be in. Let's maybe like look at minusing here. Hexproof Indestructible. This also gives Hexproof Indestructible. Actually, maybe the Lauren's Escape with the Scry is slightly more relevant than the gaining 2 life in this particular matchup. Seems like it's Dimir control. Double Floofy, no auras. Nah, not really. No mana. Yeah, not really. Basara, no double green. Oh my god, this is absolutely savage. I think we have to keep this one. Ditch that. Ditch that. Potentially, like, cycle Lauren's Escape. Maybe I should be going to 4. I don't know. All our hands are garbage, man. What an annoying place to be. Oh, shocked. We got you, opponent. We got you. Well, it's a semi-relevant aura, so let's go ahead and cast that. See how our opponent responds. And looks like we get to resolve that one. So that's... I think that's actually a reasonable spot to recover to. Opponents looking to get tricky with their Fatal Push. Maybe they're just holding up for Consider. Maybe they wanted a little bit more value from Fatal Push and they're just going to hold off. Opponent with mana and passing back to us. Another one of these like auras that can return from the grave would be beautiful. That's kind of nice too. Alright, I think it's worth it. So let's go ahead and cast that. We do have protection in response to any form of removal. And once more, well, our opponent is kind of letting us attack, but we'll see if we can protect it or if they've got another counter spell, another removal spell. Looks like another removal spell there. Alright. Oh, and that fizzles the scry. That hurts. I'd like to get that scry. Given the current board state. Alright, now we need green mana. We need our creature to resolve. And that is not green mana. Alright, this is going to be an awkward one, guys. Oh, God. Nothing like getting drawn locked by Narset. Let's play this one out. I guess I'll try and second main all of this, but that rarely seems to work. It definitely feels like our opponent did not fast skip that or anything. It feels like they're literally clicking through with the first step, not with The second one? Okay, well, if that resolves, maybe they've got like a sweeper effect here. If they do, we still have one escape, so I guess we'll try and go for a bit of mana value here. Some sort of counterspell. Notion Thief? Okay. Wow. That's some funky stuff. Oh no, so opponent's gonna get all the card draw with Notion Thief plus Gear. Yep. Goodbye, Basara. Man, your time here was short-lived. Alright, some sort of creature would be lovely. Maybe a floofy. That is not a floofy. Alright. Bit sad. So Holding Branch Loft Pathway has some sort of applicability for playing around this active here. Looks like our opponent's got something giant. Maybe it's just Shark Typhoon. I'm really not familiar enough with the format to know. That's not going to be it. Alright, let's concede. On to the next match. GG opponent. Alright, welcome back for the second match. We're versing ZNT here. And I recognize the name, but I don't have any inkling of what they are on. Dauntless Bodyguard. So is this a heroic deck then? Find another floofy. Well, green's the more important effect to have on the board here. In case we draw another green mana, we want a Basara. Guess this could also be humans. Yeah, Thalia Lieutenant. Attack for a bunch. Alright. Alright, mana please. Well, it's possible that our opponent's not going to have interaction for us. We'll see what happens. If they don't have main deck Portable Hole, Floofy could be in a really good place to help us out. Brutal Cathar, ETB, exile target creature and opponent controls. Yeah, cool. Tempo's pretty nice, isn't it? God. What an annoying place to be in. And then we brick. Oh, God. Could we not, like, hit one land drop? We kept 2 in hand and we had 3 card draws. Come on, deck. Let us recover. It could be too little too late. Another Brutal Cathar. What the hell, man? We are getting schooled right now. Yeah, recruitment officer. 3 life. Well, thanks again, Joe, but that's too little too late. Alright. Where were you 2 turns ago? Like, that's a bit lame, man. So, in face of our opponent's human deck, we're going to want some creature removal. We're going to want protection from our creatures being removed potentially. I think we can probably expect portable holes from their side of the field. Alright, so it's possible bringing in like all the hexproof effects was overboarding slightly, so I'm going to look to bring in just 1 hexproof effect, 2 portable holes, 1 Aganjo. We're going to look to efficiency swap the Busaju to the Aganjo, and then we'll remove 2 All That Glitters because they're a bit slow, and 1 Griff Spoon because flying probably isn't super relevant here. And then hopefully we just have a good aggressive hand where we get to curve out nicely. This land looks a lot better than the last one, given it gets turn 2 Basara. The absolute, winning the die roll as well is also really nice. The absolute icing on the cake would be hitting a 3rd mana source. I guess Branch Loft Pathway is fine. Maybe we should be a little bit conscious of our own life total, given we don't have the lifelink rune in hand. Audacity. Alright, so our selection of mana did not matter in this point. So Basara pass. And hitting mana so we can go SRAM plus 1 mana aura would be huge. We really want to see it. Thalia. God, it feels like I'm playing Modern again. Alright, I guess we just fly in the air. We bricked on our mana source, so that's sort of lame. Get in there with Griff Spoon. Another Thalia. Okay. Opponent's getting some good tempo now. Ganjo, so that's going to be forced to enter tapped. So I guess at this point, we'll just go and throw down here. On Audacity, keep a bit of tempo happening, attack in the air. Like, we don't have first strike, we can't fight, we don't have good toughness. I guess we could fight with Rawbriar Blessing. That's going to make things a little more awkward now, growing Thalia. Oh, nifty treat with the Mutavault there. Nice work, opponent. Attacking for a bunch. Alright, so now we could really do with some life gain. There's not life gain. God, how do we win this one? I don't think we do. Can gain 2 life, Hexproof, Indestructible, block. Look for a better next turn, I guess. Alright, pass it to our opponent. Opponent with another Thalia's Lieutenant. Man, we are getting absolutely wrecked here. Absolutely wrecked. Oh my goodness. Alright, so not technically dead. Tamio's safekeeping's best function, surely. Actually, I think I did this wrong because we gained 2 life, so if we blocked here, it would go to 1. Brave the elements? Lol. We probably want Thalia off the table if we have any chance of getting back into this. Because then we can, like, double aura, right? So this one probably on white. Enters tapped. Yeah, I forgot about that. What can we do after that? Not a whole lot. Alright, let's just concede. Yeah, well, this thing getting hexproof stopped the land from entering untapped, or getting indestructible, protection from color, whatever you want to call it. We didn't get the tempo there either, so yeah, just thoroughly schooled by a human's deck. Alright, so welcome back for the third match here. Hopefully some better fortunes on this one. That hand is not what we're looking for. This one's a lot better. We can go ahead and keep, probably bottom a mana confluence in this spot. Although we do have Ghost Form and Hammerhand, so maybe Brushland is the better card to bottom. This one can enter tapped and pass the turn. Opponent plays Castle, Locked Twain, and alright, well this is fine, so we can conserve a little bit of life on the mana confluence. Still, we can Audacity plus Ethereal next turn, so that seems like a fine place to be. Oh, an opponent with Den of the Bugbear, so I guess a Rakdos deck. Not doing anything just yet. Should we be concerned about Liliana of the Veil? Probably. Let's go ahead and, like, double aura. Do you have, like, a Pyroclasm effect? Is that what's going on here? Surely that's... Surely, like, they're not running main deck like Trickery to overload. I don't know. This seems a bit odd. Maybe we play slightly conservative just in case, even though it's 1 damage less. Okay, so go ahead and attack, and second main play the Scout to play around Liliana of the Veil. Watch me, like, just overplay this, and then Liliana gets discarded next turn, and then we lose because we don't... Sorry, not Liliana. Ethereal Armor gets discarded next turn. We lose because we don't have Ethereal. And it stomps our face. Alright, so I think I overplayed that a touch. Maybe I should have the read on Stomp. Opponent plays Fabled Mirror Breaker. Trying to brush land. Yeah. It's not very exciting, is it? So I guess we'll just go ahead and attack with our fatty here. And, I mean, opponent can block it. If they want. It's only going to continue getting bigger. It does have trample. Oh, or they could just concede. Alright. So Rakdos Midrange looks like one of the bigger decks in the metagame currently. We can see interaction with Duress. Thoughtseize main deck. God, Extinction Event could be really frustrating for us. Invoke Despair targets though. Alright. So Extinction Event is at 4 mana. And we just got to try and be faster than that, I suppose. Let's bring in our ley lines. I don't think fighting creatures are going to be super important, so we'll take out a rune, take out a Warbriar Blessing. It's probably nice to have that. Take out Griffspoon. Cartouche definitely has to stay. Guess it's just an all that glitters after that. We'll keep all our creatures for reset potential post like a mass board sweep. Alright, so we see this hand with no discard protection, triple creature, and no auras. So we'll mulligan that. Opponent keeping 7. Well, I mean, this has double creature at the very least. Ditch on a Ganjo. Start with Leyline out, and we've got our 2 most fragile creatures, right? What could go wrong? Lovely draw. Let's go. Alright, run this little guy straight into Fatal Push. Alright, so no Fatal Push yet for our little generous visitor. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. Sure. I think I'm okay with that. An aura would be nice. Or a mana so we can slow roll Floofy. Cartouche is interesting. Could double aura attack? Yeah, I think so. I mean, it gives us nothing to play on our Floofy, but it's really, really aggressive play. I didn't click save targets, my bad. That's how you do it. I now know. Alright, so that one resolves, and we'll go ahead and do this one. And gives us a nice chunky attack for 6 here. So I know the creature's super fragile, all of that. I know Audacity's not Rancor, it doesn't come back to our hand, but we will see, if our opponent removes this, we will see 2 draws, which could make for a nice Floofy at that point. Opponent attacks, and we'll just go ahead and take that one. Opponent going to buff it up a little bit, buff it up again, and buff it up again. Okay. That was a little unexpected. Alright, well, I'm happy seeing this one, so we'll just, guess we can diversify a little bit onto our warrior token. Just in case they 4 mana sweep our generous visitor, at least we'll have like a 2/2 body here. It's the same damage this turn. Yeah, Extinction Event. Alright, so we get in there. I just read the Extinction Event is sorcery, by the way. I just read the fine text on it. 0 is counted as even, so a warrior token plus Floofy Paws both count as even, and it would wipe out everything. Alright, so that's not too bad. Hopefully we make our land drop now, and then maybe another aura after that. Hammerhand. Okay, now time for the aura. Would be nice. Opponent wanting to block this one. They're down to 5. Mana Confluence, lovely. So white and yeah, there's no real way around this. I was looking to avoid taking 1 damage there, but not something that we can do. So here we'll give this creature haste off the Mana Confluence. And then we can also give it trample, and we should be able to get the win. So this creature can't block this turn either, which gives us exactly 5 damage, so it doesn't even matter what we search out. Cool, good stuff. So I guess our opponent's hand in that game was maybe clogged up with either I guess it didn't have 1 mana removal spells. They probably wouldn't be using their mana so recklessly. It probably was clogged up with discard effects like Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek, and the leyline, I think, probably helped us get there, surprisingly. Okay, so here we are for match number 4. We lost the die roll versus Tish 57. This hand's 1 green mana away from being pretty reasonable. We do have 2 1-mana auras, so once we resolve our creature, it could be good. We're on the draw, we see 2 additional cards. I think it's worth the risk to keep this. Our live draws, any green mana source, which I think we have about 15 or so in the deck, our 1-mana creatures as well, and our white 2-mana creatures. So maybe we get punished. I think mostly we shouldn't, hopefully. It looks like we're versing a control deck, so being on the draw here into what is going to be a counterspell is likely going to suck. If the counterspell is counter unless they pay 1, I guess we hold Basara until next turn. Oh, it's a spirit deck. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 any mana number of times. When you do, may pay this cost 1 or more times, put a 1/1 counter on Spectral Adversary. Then up to that many other target artifacts, creatures, or enchantments phase out. Yikes, so our opponent can make our creatures phase out at flash speed if they pay 4 mana. That seems pretty busted. I'm guessing this is just blue-white spirits, and now I'm playing into Spell Queller, so that's really bad. It's really bad that I lost my nerving there. Again, Joe, let's make them have it. I mean, no, I should be leading on Floofy here. Lofty Denial. Lame as heck. Alright, well, I think I outplayed ourselves in that previous turn by playing a bit passive, and I think we are in a very, very bad position because of that. What have you got for 4 mana? The Wandering Emperor, yikes. Alright, we want to draw mana, resolve this Floofy, and then... That's not mana, it's so annoying. Got multiple copies of Audacity. I think it's Kaya's Ghost Form. Oops. Whenever enchant permanent dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. So this is actually pretty good protection against their 3 mana ground spirit, double white and 1. Can't believe I've forgotten what that's called. It was absolutely savage in Modern. Wandering Emperor plus here. Attack there. Yep. We find a SRAM. Well, I think we have pretty good stuff here, so let's go ahead and all that glitters, and then we can give it Hexproof. Really protect it. Alpha Authority. And now we can give it Vigilance to give it protection from Wandering Emperor. I assume the search here is just Ethereal Armor. Attack for 17, which is 1 off lethal. I guess if I didn't Sentinel's Eyes and I did my math, Alpha Authority would have killed our opponent. So apologies for the misplay there and putting our opponent to 1 instead. Alright, end of turn. Opponent paying a bit of mana. I'm guessing Spectral Adversary. Shark Typhoon. Alright, well, that's survivable. We're on 8. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, opponent puts a counter on the Shark Typhoon. Attacks with both. Both are in the air, and that is lethal. Oh, wow. Super punished. Oh, my goodness. Good math by the opponent. Very poor math from us. Alright, so we can see an Azorious spirit list here. It doesn't have the Wandering Emperor like our opponent's deck has. Obviously spirit cards here. It doesn't even have the 2-mana kicker creature that they had, or Shark Typhoon, so we could be versing more of a control deck. I think if they're a control deck, the risk for Settle the Wreckage is even higher than if it's just a spirits deck. So we will bring in Leyline of Sanctity. And then there's also risk of Supreme Verdict, so we'll want Tamio Safekeeping and Lauren's Escape. Yeah, this could be kind of funky. I think we just want to trim on a lot of this clunky, expensive stuff. Just be low to the ground. Alright, so we see a 1-mana hand with double Basara and no Glade Cover Scout. That's pretty typical. Alright, well, this one's semi-reasonable. I think we ditch Basara. Keep SRAM for if we're a bit mana flooded to get that extra value happening. Settle the Wreckage Protection, and that's, I guess, stage 1, step 1 complete. So Scout and pass. Tap land from the opponent. So a good point to resolve SRAM, maybe. I think it might be. Could get run into Portable Hole, but let's do that. It's 3 mana less, we're mana flooded, and the upside is fairly high. Opponent 2 mana, sorcery speed here. Petty Theft. Okay, I'm okay with that. The tempo doesn't actually hurt us very much. Tap correctly. SRAM. Audacity over here. Trigger here. Another Audacity. Alright, not too bad. Might be looking a bit weak off the back of a Supreme Verdict, but that's at least 2 more turns away. Opponent holding up plenty of mana here. Tamio Safekeeping. Alright, so start off with mana. Audacity here, draw trigger. We find a Floofy. Looks like we get to attack. We could be attacking into a Shark Typhoon for 1. Or Brazen Borrower. They don't have flying. Our creatures don't have flying, so Brazen Borrower can't block them though. So let's attack into a potential Shark Typhoon here. Spectral Adversary. Okay. Or we could be attacking into that. Kind of looking to block here. It would give us a few buys. I think we just want to give like Hexproof Indestructible though. Wipe our opponent's creature off the board. That's pretty nice tempo. It forces them to use Supreme Verdict, at which point we untap with Floofy plus like 3 new cards. Our opponent bricks on their draw. We find Griff's Boon. I mean, playing that plays into Brazen Borrower. Maybe we're supposed to play it on the SRAM, get the draw trigger. Leave this like flying off to the side where we don't attack with SRAM. Opponent's got some sort of an answer here, and it is Spell Queller. Okay. Generous Visitor. I think we want a Floofy here. We want to suicide our Glade Cover Scout. If our opponent wants to trade, we'll get the ETB trigger on Light Pause. So attack like this. Opponent is happy to oblige. We get plenty of card draw here. Always yield, always yield. Oh, where's it hiding? Over here, okay. Find a land source. Trigger. Pretty sure it's Kaya's Ghost Form is the correct one. Draw, draw. Another Audacity. So can we play the extra land? We can. That's kind of nice. Generous Visitor. I think we're all in on Floofy Paws here. Maybe mostly all in. Maybe I should be doing math again. Oh, we actually got the caster trigger off of that as well. That's where we drew that first ley line. I guess second and ley line. One's on the board. So at this point... So toss up between Sentinel's Eyes and Ethereal Armor. Ethereal Armor is lethal. I think we're pretty ahead on board and we want good rebuildability post a Supreme Verdict, which we are very vulnerable to. Looks like opponent's tapping mana without hitting the Supreme Verdict, so that's kind of nice. Without hitting the 4th land, sorry. Petty Theft. Pretty good tech against our Floofy Paws, right? Alright, well, we've drawn a fat chunk of auras, so let's go ahead and start off with Floofy. Man, this is such a nice pairing between SRAM and Floofy. It's like crazy good. Alright, so we'll put this trigger here. Draw effect there. Opponent concedes. Alright, that's pretty nice. Obviously, we also have the Sentinel's Eyes in the graveyard we can recast. Funnily enough, we've hit all 4 ley lines this game. Pretty amusing. Alright, so I think SRAM was pretty impressive that game. I'm going to bring back in the one that we boarded out. Taking out a Griff Spoon because flying can be a liability in a matchup. The evasion isn't very helpful. And in fact, I might just take out the last copy as well. Is 17 auras to Hue? I could be way overthinking this with the Leyline of Sanctity, by the way. So it's either bring in all that glitters or bring in Floofy Paws. I think I'm going to bring in Floofy Paws. Go for like maximum rebuildability. Alright, so we have one creature here. It can be bounced. It does draw a lot of cards though. And I guess we get good card draw off it as well when we cast our auras. Oh my, our opponent just accidentally skipped their first turn. That's pretty unfortunate on their end. I guess we'll take it. So being on the play did not mean a lot there. A little bit awkward. These Leyline of Sanctities do buff up our Ethereal Armor, by the way. Find Basara. Yeah, I'm down. Let's jump in on that one. And that one resolves. Perhaps it's a little easier to resolve when our opponent essentially put us on the play with an extra card draw. So yeah, we play this on the white side. So it's either SRAM plus Cartouche or just like Ethereal Attack. We might run out of gas if we don't SRAM. But we might lose a fair bit of tempo if we don't. We also could be playing around Counter Magic, Spell Queller next turn, and the counter unless they pay 1 mana this turn that cycles. So it looks like we resolve both of these. We get an aggressive attack for 7. They could still Petty Theft one of our auras. I guess that's what they're doing now. Yeah, alright, so that's fine. I mean, we're not hugely upset about that anyway because we want card draw off SRAM anyway, so a little bit of damage prevented from our opponent's side. And we're in a reasonably nice site. We're at a reasonably nice point right now. We'll SRAM. Spell Queller. Sure. No need to play beside you now. We'll just attack for 7, which is a nice little chunk. And not surprisingly, no blocks from the opponent. They're down to 8. We can resolve some trample. We're in a good spot. Opponent attacks. Is this indicative of Supreme Verdict? If it is, we get SRAM back and maybe we can combo a few auras together at that point. Oh. 1, 2, 3. No. And opponent lets us untap at this point. Could be a Shark Typhoon blocker, in which case diversifying onto the warrior token is better. But if it's that 2-mana blocker, if it's a spell queller, ethereal armor on the warrior token's better. Yeah, this is a bit of an awkward spot. I could be playing ethereal into a spell queller. Alright, let's go for it. Like, Petty Theft on warrior token would just drop the ethereal armor to the graveyard, so we have to put it on Basara. Attack with both. Wandering Emperor. Alright, so active on this. This doesn't have artifact or enchantment typing, does it? It does not. They're going to block the Fatty Basara. Sure. I don't think we want to play the Basayu still. Like, it doesn't net us any, or besides you, it doesn't net us any mana at this point. They might have like a portable hull we want to interact with later. Temporary lockdown. That's a pretty good one into us, isn't it? Yikes. Oh, we get to throw them back on our creature? That's pretty good. Don't mind that. Opponent should have done this pre-combat, because then they would have got an extra warrior token to attack with. Really glad we held this in hand, by the way. Click object to attach aura to. I want to attach it to my own creature. I want to attach this to my own creature. Why can't I attach this to my own creature? But they're all on the battlefield right now. Alright, I guess we just don't attach them. Or do we have to? I don't get this. This is extremely bizarre to me. I guess that's going to be game. Alright. Seems like a strange bug to me, potentially. Maybe it's something that we can write a ticket about. Yeah. Not sure on this one. GG's opponent. Alright, welcome back to the 5th match here, guys. We lost the die roll versus John PYP. And we're going to mull into this 6-card hand. It looks pretty decent to me. I think we can ditch Brush Land and conserve a bit of life total here. Still getting access to double white and 1 green source. And it plays out of planes, passing to us. And ooh, another ethereal armor. Not too shabby. Don't mind if we do. Scout and pass. It's another planes from our opponent. And they play Gideon, Front of Hope. So this is an Angels deck. I think specifically there is a green-white Angel deck. I think without Gideon it is semi-weak. So this War Briar Blessing is going to be good in future turns. So each other Angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each Angel you already control. Tap. Add 1 white mana spent only to cast Angel spells. Yeah, Gideon seems pretty stacked. Yeah, I thought it was a green-white Angel list. That's what I did see on MTG Goldfish metagame. Bishop of Wings, Human Cleric. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a 1/1 spirit token with flying. This one entered 1/1 counter. And getting a bit of life. I guess we just want to remove Gideon at this point. I think I probably want to hold on to Cartouche of Solidarity and get a card draw off SRAM to help look for Trample or Life Gain. So go ahead and attack for 7. Yes, there's just going to be a chump block with this little spirit token here. Opponent did not chump block at all. So they gained 4 life off of the spirit entering. Another Gidia. Alright. This is getting pretty out of hand already. Holy smokes. Attacking for a bunch in the air. Alright, so that's going to be 5 damage to our face. Down to 11. Portable Hole. Bit lame. Taking Ethereal Armor. Guess it could be worse. Okay, I think SRAM slightly better than Floofy here. Bishop of Wings attacks on the ground, so SRAM can block it as long as it's not interacted with. So we want to play this probably on the white side. Keep up some description of aggression, attack in. And opponent attacking for a large chunk. So everything has flying that is not SRAM. So they got some sort of Rally the Peasants effect where they buff their attacking creatures. They remove SRAM with a Ganjo. Okay, that makes some amount of sense. Find a scout. It's pretty frustrating. I think this means we're just dead. Maybe the play was Floofy, gets Griff Spoon on the tutor. I guess it's not all doom and gloom, because if they had another angel, they probably would have played it, buffed up that board, their board, and potentially killed us. So this means maybe they're drawing off the top of their deck, and it might be okay to get one more turn as long as they blank on one more draw here. So they did think a little bit before casting Resplendent Angel. Beginning of each end step, if you gain 5 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel token. Attacking for 5 in the air, and I mean, boy, having flying would be good about now, right guys? Right? 7 in the air. Oh, look, flying. So we really only have ourselves to blame on that one by playing out the wrong creature, playing SRAM instead of Floofy. Alright, so let's see. What's their interaction here? More Portable Hole in the sideboard. Archon of Mirror could be very annoying. I don't care a huge amount about Ajani. Jesus, Archangel Avacyn. So ETB of gives creatures indestructible until end of turn. It has flash, obviously. Dawn Dusk, exile all creatures with power of 3 or greater. Aftermath, return all creature cards with power of 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Alright, this deck seems like it has a few legs. Main deck, 1 beside you. 1 Aganjo. Alright, so we're a bit unfortunate there. And alright, so mostly I don't think we're going to interact with each other too much. Maybe because of like Portable Hole, we might want something like this. I think the life gain's possibly better than the Scry. Actually, Portable Hole is really good on our end. Maybe instead of this, so we're not too slow. Our flying is going to be important here. Our haste might be too. I'm finding trims here a little bit difficult. I think something like that. Or maybe we keep SRAM in instead of Floofy Paws because Legend Rule, and just to diversify a little bit evenly. Sure, this seems pretty reasonable. The Portable Holes are artifacts, so all that glitters does get buffed here. I can see us getting pretty nice tempo this game. Yeah. Hand seems probably above average for us. It'd be good to get some first strike, to get some trample, to get some flying, probably in that order. It's a really good starting point though. Brushland, sure. So that's going to be a lazy attack for 2 for our little scout. Opponent plays Youthful Valkyrie. Whenever an angel enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Youthful Valkyrie. Alright, so I guess we just go ahead and Portable Hull here. Alright, it's automatically selecting. That's going to be an attack for 3 now. Second main, I suppose we play out this guy. I could be playing into a Wrath, but we might want the tempo. It's likely we're going to hold up these as interaction and spells rather than play them as lands. Alright, opponent plays Skyclave Apparition, and I mean, that's the one I was talking about in the Spirits matchup, right? I think we want to play Portable Hull. I think we want to play All That Glitters afterwards and attack for a bunch. We probably want to just go in on one creature to give us the best Skyclave Apparition protection possible, rather than diversifying and attacking wide. I think if my opponent was to have no more interaction and only creatures, I would consider diversifying onto the second scout. But if they follow this up with another Skyclave Apparition, we're going to want at least like one All That Glitters on our guy. Or I guess I'd be removing Portable Hull, so it could be 2 Skyclave Apparitions. So Portable Hull from our opponent here. Removing All That Glitters, not Portable Hull. Okay. Animates Mutavault, attacks in. Okay. So why that instead of getting your creature back? I think the attack here is fairly free. Why not block? Okay, so we'll play this on the white side and we'll pass turn. For opponent, like, attacks all out, we get a 1/1 holding up. Alright, so removing All That Glitters. Just going completely on the defensive now, opponent. Looks like there might be. Oh, there it is. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove this guy. Get a 1/1. I mean, getting the 2/2 would be better, but I think controlling the board state when they're at 5, a trample effect, sort of forces a decent amount. Flying does a little bit too. Alright, let's attack in the air now. Man, we are fast running out of resources. I think it was a mistake playing this beside you. Or beside you, however it's pronounced. I still need to listen to someone that knows what they're talking about. Requires having time to watch other content creators though. Uh-oh. Opponent with a little sneaky Coco here. I don't think they have like a phantasmal image effect, although because it's green-white, they're not splashing blue, which means that they can't have the blue land, Glasspool Mimic. Double Valkyrie. Oh, this flying suddenly looks absolutely trash. Gains a fat ton of life. Okay, what a point to navigate ourselves to. Opponent is in a very good spot right now after gaining 8 life and us bricking pretty hard. Of course, if we held this land in hand, we could have removed Portable Hull, got back the All That Glitters. Would still be in a precarious spot though. I think they're going for another Coco, and that is absolutely foul, man. Alright. Resplendent Angel. Gains 6 life. Yikes. So they've gained 14 life. Holy smokes, man. These enter like simultaneously, right? Do we want to like... I should have blocked there. If we draw Floofy Paws, we could potentially all in. I think we're super doomed anyway. Sorry. Yeah, we probably should have blocked with the Griff's Boon. If we draw Floofy, then we can... We don't even have mana to Floofy plus activate, so I guess we don't even block. We draw Audacity, that's sort of dead. I mean, yeah, we fell pretty far behind with their tempo of Skyclaves, and then just flooding out on extra copies of creatures and extra lands that we didn't need, so... maybe pulling the trigger on a Gandro as early as we did was a little bit wrong as well, because that could have dealt with one of these Righteous Valkyries. Alright, so, I mean, obviously this deck didn't perform nearly as well as it did in the previous league. I think we ended at 1-4 there, right? Yeah, we did end 1-4. I think currently with the way the deck is constructed, it's constructed to be of high variance because we have a lot of 2-ofs, we have a lot of 1-ofs. We haven't chosen a clear direction, right? I think the sideboard's not too bad. I mean, we didn't really see any decks where Rest in Peace was relevant. We saw one, potentially 2 decks where Leyline was relevant, which was the Rakdos deck, and if the Azorious control player was running Edict effects in form of Settle, the Wreckage, Blessed Alliance, Celestial Flare, etc., it would have been relevant there as well. That could have been just me overboarding though, and I accept that if that's the case. I will accept that. Obviously we didn't see a point where Deafening Silence was of relevance, but I think that's mostly in here for the mono green combo deck, which combos Kiora and Khan and chains out a whole bunch of non-creature spells in one turn before burning you to the face. So we didn't run into it, but I am scared of that deck, and I do see a good argument for Deafening Silence, somewhere between 2 and 4 copies. I think obviously we also need an indestructible effect for in the face of Supreme Verdict, because we don't have Hyena Umbra, we don't have Spider Umbra access. So the main changes are going to be coming to the main deck, I believe. Alright, so apologies if this layout is a bit more difficult for you guys to follow card numbers and things like that, but it allows me to show piles of cards I want and cards that I think are suspect and to be taken out. So I brought in Commune here. I brought in an extra 2 copies of Cartouche of Solidarity, and an extra 2 copies of Sentinel's Eyes. I think in a lot of matchups, like first and foremostly, First Strike is a very, very important stat for a Hexproof deck to have. If you're attacking with a 5/1 Trampler with no other stats whatsoever other than just the damage, it's very vulnerable to chump blocks, and that's not a very good place for us to be. So I think we need 3 to 4 copies of Cartouche Solidarity in addition to our Ethereal Armor. I think that's pretty standard. I think Sentinel's Eyes could probably be 3 to 4 copies. I might go with 3 copies instead of 4. Griffspoon's probably okay at 2. It's the sort of effect we want to see to block our opponent's creatures, but Pioneer seems to have a lot of decks that do have flying in them, so it loses value from an evasive point of view. Now I think all that glitters at 4 mana, it's possible we could trim on copies of all that glitters. Maybe 1 copy of all that glitters, actually. Keep in the Sentinel's Eyes. And then look to take out some of this stuff like General Visitor, like Saram, like Hammerhand, and maybe Ghost Form can stay. I don't know. Hammerhand did technically win us a game, but I think it's just a bit cute, honestly. I kind of like Sram and General Visitor, but with the amount of auras I want to be jamming into the deck, it's not really going to work too well. Additionally, we will be bringing in Commune with the Spirits, which will help fix our mana for the hands where we have Basara in hand, so that we can get to that double green. we can play it on turn 1 if we're not playing a scout, and then later game we can use it to help filter aura effects. It's going to be pretty reasonable into most things, but possibly a little bit weak into cards like in the humans deck where they have like a Thalia. Could be a bit weak. With the 2 mana slot, we're going to have 3 All That Glitters, 2 Rune of Sustenance. I do think Lifelink is a semi-important stat in the format. There's a lot of creature-based decks, and we do want to be able to gain life. It doesn't give any 1/1, like it doesn't give any stats or anything, so I think going beyond 2 copies could be nerfing down the size of your Bogle a bit too much, but we're also to help control the board. Sentinel's Eye is a really good spot. Warbire Blessing, I think I like. I think I undervalued this card a little bit initially. I think it's somewhere between 1 and 2 copies is right, or even between 0 and 2 copies is probably right for it. And so at that point, I'm going to look to definitely remove Hammerhand. Ghost Form could have a stronger argument to stay in the deck because of its ability to protect Floofy off of a 1 mana aura. I think I just want to try the deck without it though. Yeah, I think it's just too cute. We still need to cut 1 card. I guess it's just 1 more All That Glitters. I love the power of All That Glitters, but this is sort of what I was thinking about transitioning the deck to before I saw Michael someone's names list that finished in the top 8 in a 900 player event. So I did diversify it towards his to test his list out, and it doesn't seem consistent to me. Maybe it's my playstyle doesn't suit the deck. I'm not entirely sure. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think this looks like it could be more successful than the list we just played? I'd love to hear from you. See you next time, guys. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you then.